Good evening, welcome to North Lanarkshire Live. What a week it's been. We weren't on last week because we had technical issues with our guest, and tonight, what's it like? You wait for a guest to come along, none come along, and then finally two come along at once. So it's going to be a good night tonight with two guests. But before we get into that, let's look at what we've been going on this week and even today. There's rumours that there's going to be supermarket shortages, and supermarkets are warning people not to panic buy. The only items that are affected are beer and deodorant, which is going to be great for the hottest month of the year for us to be sober and smell. So that's something to look forward to for the next couple of weeks in North Lanarkshire. In other news, Big Dom Cummings was on BBC talking about Boris Johnson, and he said, you know, we thought at the time it was ludicrous for Boris to become Prime Minister. And, you know, I think most people before he ran thought it was probably a ludicrous idea. And most people afterwards will probably agree with you now. In other news, we have got our outside broadcast vehicle up and running. We're nearly ready to go and do our first trial outside broadcast vehicle. Here it is here. It's lovely. It's the Millennial Falcon, and it will be on the road very shortly. We've been doing a couple of test drives, and we hope to be out and about very soon. But tonight we have the chance to talk to Isbah and Mahvish from Lanarkshire Carers, and I will just... Hello Isbah and hello Mahvish.
Hello, Martin.
Hello, Martin.
So
thank you for having us on the show.
It's an absolute pleasure. It's great having two people. This means you can do all the heavy lifting while I just sit back here and watch this. So both of you work for Lanarkshire Carers. Now, what exactly is Lanarkshire Carers?
So, Martin, as you said, my name is Isbah Khan. I've been working with Lanarkshire Carers for the last 12 years. And my capacity, my role currently is a BAME Carer Services and Equalities Coordinator. So Lanarkshire Carers is an organization and a resource. It's a pan-Lanarkshire organization and a resource that support unpaid family carers. So if you are supporting someone who cannot manage on their own because of a long-term condition, a long-term illness, a physical disability, mental health issues, substance misuse, and you provide them with support, you are an unpaid family carer. And this is what we do. We support these family carers practically and emotionally. So as I said, we are a pan-Lanarkshire organization. We cover both North and South Lanarkshire. We are commissioned by both the authorities, and we are an organization that provides, that are commissioned but by both these organizations to provide direct support to carers.
So what constitutes a carer? I mean, how severe does a person's disability have to be before the person looking after them is considered a carer?
If you anyone can be a carer if you are providing support to someone who cannot manage if they cannot manage to have an independent life because of an illness or disability. So we are not here, we don't decide who what the level of disability would be. So if someone gives us a call and they tell us that they are looking after someone, or even if they are intending to be a carer or take on, if they are going to take on caring responsibilities in near future, our role is to support them. So this could be a parent looking after a child with additional needs. It could be a partner. It could be children looking after their parents. It could be, friends, neighbors. So if you're providing any support on an unpaid basis, you are classified as a family carer, and this is the people who we are for.
Is there such a thing as a temporary carer? So like if somebody's, like obviously, right, you probably don't know this because hopefully you've been watching the show and you know this, but I broke 4 ribs at the start of the year, so I couldn't really move for about 2 weeks straight. So would that count my partner as being a carer? Could they? Is there a way they could have went through and got support and help for the short period of time? You might not know
Um,
the answer. It was just it popped into my head when you were talking about it.
Usually, we do talk about long-term conditions. So just because someone's broken a leg
Hmm.
or ribs in your condition, that can be very short-lived sort of experience. But if say your conditions progress and if the caring role increases, we are here to support. But basically, a carer is classified as who provides a long-term care.
Yeah. So, um, what sort of support can you actually provide to carers?
So we've been mandated through the local authorities to of North Lanarkshire and South Lanarkshire to make adult carer support plans for anybody who identifies themselves as an adult carer, and as it could be anyone above the age of 18. And basically, it's a conversation about their caring role. So based on that, we are able to come out with outcomes to support them in their caring role. So it could be in the form of short breaks. It could be in the form of providing emotional support. We could speak to them in very confidentially. We could give them advice. Anything that can help make their caring role a little bit easier. We also provide grants and funds to support in that role. So every carer has their own individual circumstance, their own needs, their own requirements, and so we have the infrastructure to help them make that journey a little bit better for them.
And
So just to add a little more, so basically we are here to inform, support, empower, um,
And
and
also
support,
help them
provide direct
identify.
support to carers. Identify the main thing, the first thing, when we start a journey, that's to help carers identify themselves in their caring roles. So obviously, if you don't identify yourself as a carer, you won't come and seek help. So inform, support, empower, and help them get involved in their caring journeys as well.
I mean, is that an issue where people don't see themselves as a carer?
Yeah, yeah. We see it every day, Martin. We see it every day. People might be providing intensive care. They might be putting in so much their time and effort looking after someone, but not identifying themselves as carers because they might feel what they're doing is what a parent would do for a child who's unwell, or if whatever they're doing for their family, or their grandparents or their parents, they might think that this is what they should be doing, this is what their duty is. And it's across board. Because we work with diverse communities, we see it not only in the Scottish community, but it's in the ethnic minorities. It's a massive thing that stops people from accessing support. In some languages, there's not even a word for carer, like in Asian languages, in African languages, Oriental languages. So people might think this is a very Western concept. So yeah, it's across board. It's all communities. We see it every day.
And so Lanarkshire is quite a big area. So is there a lot of carers in Lanarkshire?
Yeah.
Is there?
Yes, Lanarkshire is a massive area geographically, and there's a lot of carers, especially because it's North Lanarkshire we're talking about. So it is around 17% of the population, 16 plus, carers above the age of 16 years. So it is 17% of the population is in a caring role, which is a very high percentage, which makes it the seventh of the 32 local authorities. And with the pandemic and in the COVID, so many people more are doing so much in as a carer.
Yeah, but is there still a stigma for people to access support and to admit that they can't? Because it's that thing of saying people think if they go to like a support group to get support or help, it means that they can't cope, and it looks like a failure on their part. Is there that sort of still stigma still flying about?
There
It
is,
is
there
very
is.
much. It is very much so, and as Isbah mentioned, in some of the ethnic communities, it is more rife. They might be struggling, but they would never come out and actually say that they need help. They might know it for themselves that they require help, but they will never come out and say it. So finding such people, reaching out to them, especially in the COVID lockdown, has been very, very difficult. Some communities are more open. They identify themselves. They know that there are services, and they're happy to access them as well. So there's a whole spectrum of people, but we try our very best to reach down to those communities which find it hard to come out because they identify this as a stigma of some sort.
Yeah, Isabel, you were going to say something?
Yeah, yeah. Again, we get lots of calls from carers who are very reluctant to take up help. And as our role as carer support workers, when we engage with them and we try to encourage them to take help, because we don't want carers to go to the crisis point. We want the support to be right there, right from the beginning. We want carers to engage with us right from the beginning so that we have preventative steps in place, preventative measures in place. The more they take up the services, the more they're able to manage their caring roles, sustain their caring roles, and at the same time, look after their own health and well-being.
So we've just come. Well, we're not out of the clear yet. We're still at level 0. Although I don't know if it'll be level -1 will be the next one that we go to. But we've just come out of that full year and a bit of lockdown where people were really heavily isolated. Has that been kicked in with your organisation where you've had to deal extra with stuff? And have you been working through COVID lockdown?
We've been working through COVID. I can't believe that it's been almost 17, 18 months when we were told that go home, and we were all given, our laptops and telephones, and we went home and we plugged them in. This is us, after 18 months. So yeah, we have been here throughout the pandemic. Obviously, because of the lockdown and, considering the health and well-being of the carers, the people they care for and everything. So the support that we are providing currently is via phone, basically. So we are all our staff is available during office hours. We are available on video platforms such as Near Me. All our services are available. Carers are they can approach us if they are needing a short break away from their caring role. We have a full-fledged training program which is being provided online. We are having events. We celebrated a very successful Carers Week, not only this year but last year as well. We had an AGM, and our second AGM in lockdown is coming up. We celebrated a very successful Carers Week. So carers have been heavily impacted by the pandemic, obviously, with so many services not being available for them, and so many new carers have come on board. Look, the carers who were providing care, their caring roles intensified. So this has been a very, very challenging time for carers, and we have been here for carers throughout this journey with them.
Because obviously, if you're a carer, you might be a perfectly healthy person, and your big worry is that you're going to bring COVID-19 back into the household as well, which would prey on someone's mental health quite heavily during that period. So I take it mental health support has been the big thing during lockdown.
Exactly. As I said, we've been here from day one for carers. So any carer, north or south, they can pick up the phone and they can give us a call, and we are here to provide emotional and practical support. There are things that they can access, such as our training program. There's lots of very interesting things on via the training program, such as mindfulness, relaxation opportunities. There's opportunities to speak to other carers. We provide that sort of platforms as well. Events. We have a well-being library available via our website. And short breaks is again something that we have been very heavily involved with, to help carers take a step back and encourage them to take short breaks away from their caring role, considering that we were in a pandemic. What could they do to look after their own health and well-being and keep fit, and take a step back and have some me time. So yeah, so all of this has been going on.
And of course now, I mean, it's although we're getting better, we're getting all vaccinated and things like that. There's also a worry now that they talk about long-term COVID, where there's quite possibly going to be people that are going to need carers coming up in the next year or two as a result of this pandemic. Now,
Yep.
the vaccination. How has it been trying to get out to carers and get them on board to get vaccinated? Because I know we talked about the show before about how there was a crazy period when the vaccine came out where people were just going, Bill Gates wants to track me. It's going to improve my 5G signal, but I don't want it. All that stuff. So how did you combat that sort of like that mid-pandemic sort of madness that came on board with your people under your care?
Yeah.
I think
Because,
go ahead, Isbah.
no, Mamish, you go ahead, please.
Okay, so yeah, we were faced with that problem. There was people who just wanted the vaccine and they couldn't get it at that point in time. So we used to get frantic, phone calls. People very upset because they couldn't meet their parents because of their condition, who were isolating and stuff. So it was a lot of chaos around that time. And then on the other hand, we had this whole ethnic minority community who just were not willing to even listen to the fact that they wanted to get vaccinated, or they just didn't want to. So there was we had this consultation, and then Isbah and some other people, they came up with videos to try and persuade people from various communities to access this vaccine when it was available. And then thankfully the NHS portal came along and things kind of quieted down for the community who wanted the vaccine but couldn't access it. So another thing that we did was we were able to provide PPE to a lot of carers. Obviously, as you know, some carers would need a lot more, and it's quite expensive to get. So we've been a channel through which people were able to access it. They still can if they call in and they qualify. So that's some of the things that we did.
Yeah, if I can add, Martin, this has been the busiest. We've been extremely busy, especially when it all started, and because we don't work on our own. We work with other organizations, carer organizations, with some of which are national, like Carers Trust and Carers UK. So the information that they were sending us, we were sort of disseminating within the communities. And we for some of the communities, we were at one point, it felt that we were the only source of reliable information to carers. So this has been the busiest period for us.
Sorry, I'm just changing something there. So it's been extremely busy. Have you noticed that there's the biggest problem at the moment has been to keep people vigilant as we come to the end of the pandemic? Because I was out today and I was in a supermarket. I'm not going to name what supermarket, but there was basically no anti-bac at the door. It was sort of like, it's kind of like an afterthought now. Half the store didn't have masks on. nobody was really that bothered. People were brushing past you, and there's that sort of thing. Well, we're not quite out of it. I have this attitude. We're not quite out of it. You can maybe calm down a little bit. Is that something that obviously people that are dealing with underlying conditions, they'll be more fearful now of going out because there is that sort of lax attitude?
You're right. You're right, Martin. That seems to be the attitude. But being a carer, because it impacts all your life. Your psyche changes when you become a carer. So there are carers who are quite worried about this trend, and they are worried about everything being opening up, and how, if they catch COVID, how if they, and worries about transmitting it to the cared for. So the carers are very responsible people, and they worry about things like that. And I think they quite a large majority is apprehensive about what the how it will impact the opening up of everything. So and this is what our role is, that to sort of encourage and support carers. And in our training program we are also including things about anxiety, how to deal with that anxiety, and what practical steps can be taken with the lockdown restrictions being lifted.
And obviously, Lanarkshire Carers does a lot of work with the BAME groups. Now, you can maybe explain what the acronym is, because I keep on saying it wrong when I say it. So, you work with like minority groups a lot. So how easy is it to get into those groups and gain their trust and get them involved and be able to access the system?
Okay, Mavish, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, okay. So that stands for Black, Asian, Minority, and Ethnic Groups. And basically, well, Isbah's been doing it a lot more by actually going into the community, visiting churches, mosques, temples, places like that, other community organizations when they have their various events and all that. So that used to be how it was, but when COVID's come along, we've had to kind of obviously, work online more than anything. So it's been a lot harder. There are still, those kinds of religious sort of groups that still operate online. So we kind of ask them to spread the word, and sometimes we go there and we speak about our services. But generally, it's been harder. We're just waiting for the lockdown to be over so that we can once again, well, the lockdown's nearly over, but safe enough for us to actually go and engage with people and engage with groups, so that we can get more carers on board. And I think that's the hardest bit, because they do not come out themselves. It's been very, very difficult to get those sort of numbers. What happened was, with the Caring for COVID fund coming along, a lot of carers came out, because that was the funding provided by the government to the carers, and that was in around January, February, that kind of time frame. A lot of carers came out, and then the COVID vaccine, that was another thing that brought out carers, because it was thought that if they were registered, they would somehow get identified, because most of them obviously never identify themselves or never get registered. So those were the two things that kind of brought the numbers from the brain community and also the general public. But yeah, it's been difficult.
Can I add something here, Martin?
Yep.
So, as Mavish said, that the BAME stands for the Black, Asian, Minority, Ethnic Groups. So, our BAME service has been, it's well established, and it's actually, we are known for best practice. We are very few carer centers in Scotland who provide this support. So, working with all different community groups. The breakdown, I would say, is the largest is the Pakistani community in Lanarkshire, which is followed on by Polish community. There's a significant Indian community. Chinese is also, in quite significant numbers. And recently, the Arab refugee community that have come into Lanarkshire. So these are the main community groups that we have been supporting for years. We with our work within these community groups and with other organizations, we know what their barriers are. We know that there's cultural barriers in accessing support. There's linguistic barriers. We know that some of the services might not be culturally specific to the carers. So we try to custom, we have customized our services so that these carers feel that this service that we provide is not just for white Scottish people. It's for everyone who lives in Lanarkshire. So because of our work with the groups, which has been very, very successful, as I said, we are known for our best practice, and we are regularly we are consulted, not only on by the Scottish side of things. We are also, at times we're also consulted down south because of the way we have developed our services for the BAME communities. So forgotten what your question was, Martin. I get so excited when I'm talking about the BAME service. So,
but I mean, Scotland doesn't really have that big a BAME society. I mean, there's a reason why it's called a minority. Because it's not that big in Scotland. It's growing, and that can only be a good thing for a multicultural society. But it is still very much a minority, is it not? Within, well, even just all over Scotland, it's very much still just a white country. That sounded wrong, and I didn't want it to sound like I was campaigning to be part of a political party. I don't think it's a good thing. But do you know what I mean? It's when I went to where I went to school, there was just such a mix of culture, and it's getting more like that now in Scotland, which can only be a good thing. In about 20 years, we'll have a really vibrant multicultural society.
Exactly. Yeah, you're right. And some parts of Scotland are very, very diverse. Like, even next door, like in Glasgow, it's like 12% or 13% of the population is ethnic. But even in Lanarkshire, it's, up to 3 or 4% of the population is there is significant BAME population within Lanarkshire. Obviously,
yeah, but what I would say though is it's always good to know that like 3-4% of the population is BAME. So when you get hit with a racist comment about they're all coming, it's only 3 or 4% of our population. It's not. I mean, more people get hit with a rake every year. So it's not it's not a big problem. That's what I was meaning in terms of when you're dealing with people that are like going, the immigration problem is so bad and things like that, and you go, well, it's actually only making up like 4% of the population, or do you know? That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah. You're right. And obviously, it's Scotland is considered. Myself, I belong to. I'm basically a Pakistani, and we chose to be in Scotland because, and we've been here now, 15, 16 years. And I can't recall a time when we felt that there was any racist attack, verbal or anything on us. We felt very, very welcome, and it's our home now. So when we talk to our friends or family, in other parts of UK, they don't have these sort of positive experiences. So we have been really, really lucky that Scotland is a very welcoming and very diverse, sort of a very healthy environment and a healthy culture of accepting people in.
I think there was an old thing that people used to say is that if you went down the street in Glasgow and shouted something racist, someone would probably punch you. But if you stood up and said something about Catholics or Protestants, it would be okay. it was kind of a sort of a weird situation. We've got our own problems to bring anything else into it. Now, how would someone get in touch with Lanarkshire Carers if they're sitting watching this tonight and think, well, actually, I am a carer. I didn't realise I was a carer. How would they get in touch with Lanarkshire Carers?
Yeah,
Well,
any way they prefer, Martin. Yeah.
the easiest way would be to pick up the phone and call us. We've got a team of people who's always 5 or 6 people who are always there to pick up the phone, and they'll immediately register the person if they're the carer themselves, and that's where their support starts. We're not exactly going to go and pick up paperwork and check and this and that. Them telling us their caring role is enough for us to start supporting them. The other way is through a referral form that's found online on our website. If somebody thinks that there is someone who wants to be referred, or they want to self-refer themselves, they can use that form. We do get referrals from things like GPs and social work and all sorts, schools, all sorts of, anywhere that anyone identifies as a carer, they can just simply call. Another way we do have is the virtual clinics, etc. as well. So that's another way that they can contact us using those. Again, that's online. Anything I'm missing, Isbah?
Yeah, I can add a few. Yes. So phone call, Mahvish did say. So do you want me to say out the number, Martin, or can you can you share it on screen? Or
what we've done is we've put your website address on, and what we'll do is if you send us any details, we'll add it to the description of the video so people can get it. But it was more the point of, so obviously someone sitting at home thinking, well, I look after my partner, she's getting progressively worse, I could need help. They think, do I have to go to my GP first? Do I have to contact social work first? Yeah. So, because a lot of people would think, I need to be referred to Lanarkshire Carers first. But obviously you're saying they can go there as a first port of call saying, I need a bit of help and advice.
Yep. So just pick up a phone. As Mahvish said, we are here 9 till 4:30, even later, because everybody's working from home. So we are here for carers.
Don't be saying that. Your phone will be going at 8:30 at night now.
So
we do have a dedicated BAME line as well. And we do provide support in 200 languages, so the language part shouldn't be an impediment.
Yes.
Okay, so how many languages do you guys speak?
I speak 3.
Between us, Mahvish and I would say 6 or 7.
Right. Well, that's quite good. I can speak 1, and I can say Tika in Urdu, which I know means okay, but that's about as far as I go. But so is it all paid workers, or do you have volunteers within the group?
Yep. We are a team in which is getting larger and larger every day. So we have around, I think now, around 43 paid workers, and we have a whole team of volunteers as well, without which we won't be able to provide that level of support that we provide to carers. So we have a team of volunteers. Again, the volunteers are from different communities. They are multilingual as well, and they help us not only with the admin, but they are involved with the training program, the weekly phone calls to carers, with the short breaks team, with the information team. So anyone who feels or would like to be part of our volunteer, team, they, the same way, they can give us a call. They can visit our website. There are forms there where, which they can fill and submit. We are very much available via social media. So we, Facebook, we are on Instagram, Twitter, whatever way is convenient for them. So just whatever suits them.
Fantastic. Is there anything else you would like to add before we wrap up?
Well, I would like to say thank you.
No, I would say if you know a carer around who you think is a carer, just refer them to us.
Okay, well, thanks for coming on. It's been a delight to talk to both of you, and hopefully hopefully people watching it will get the information they need, and maybe you might even get some volunteers out of tonight's show. So thanks very much.
Thanks for having
Thank
us,
you.
Martin.
Thanks very much.
So that was Isbah and Mahvish from Lanarkshire Carers, a truly worthy organisation. We'll be on again next week at Thursday at 9 o'clock. If you're a community group, or you're an organisation, you're a charity, or even just a business that's coming out of lockdown, and maybe you want to vent about something, maybe you're a politician, maybe you're an elected official, maybe you want to come on and just have a chat, because people are starting to watch the show now, so that would be an ideal time, an ideal platform to get your message out there and just have a quick discussion with us. And it's completely painless. It's a good day, and until next week, I will say good night.